Before you finalize that ticket, before you set that roster, you need the edge. Welcome to the 1 hour window that separates the winners from the losers. We're diving deep into the spreads, the over-unders, the value plays, and the sleepers you must start. Stop guessing and start winning. This is the Gridiron Gurus, providing the ultimate NFL advantage exclusively on the Empty the Bench Network.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. It's good to be back, and we're here for another edition of Gridiron Gurus. But so let's get started here. But before we do that, I want to remind everyone to follow us at youtube.com/ETB Network. And there is some important news that we'd like to share. We have reached the 3,000 hour watch mark, and Ben, why don't you go ahead and do that read real quick?
So we hit that yesterday, and the Empty the Bench Network is pleased to announce that the network has surpassed 3,000 watch hours on YouTube, and we cannot thank you guys enough for your outstanding support in making this milestone possible. Thanks to the viewers like you in the coming days and next week. We will be rolling out the details about our super chats, super stickers, super thanks, channel membership, tiers, perks, merch store, and so much more. We thank you guys once again for your support of ETB Network programming. And obviously, this is just the beginning. This is just the start. We want to obviously hopefully get to 4,000. Of course, we are trying to just get to the next milestone. But obviously, this one was a huge one that we had. And now, obviously, we want to keep on going, and we can't thank you guys enough for your support. And obviously, to just make sure that for the people that are watching, to make sure that you reach out to other people that are interested, in our stuff, and to keep the word out there, because we do it for you guys, we do it for us as well too. But obviously, stuff like this isn't without you guys.
Yeah. So keep share these links when you get them, and put them on your stories and all that stuff, so people can continue to watch them and help us reach to that next milestone. Because I think if we don't reach 4,000 by a certain date, it increases to 8,000.
Yeah, I don't know the exact. I think it's like February or something as a certain month. So we still got time, but
we still got plenty of time. But don't disregard what we just said. Still share it around and help us out. But I thought it was within like the next month and a half or something. But it doesn't look like that. But why don't we get into our first topic here, which actually pertains to my team. So yesterday. It was released. Well, yesterday, the Bears president and CEO and owner George McCaskey and Kevin Warren had a press conference, giving another update, and I put that in quotes because it was not really an update for me. I watched it, and they said the same thing that they said 6 months ago. But So people on Twitter were surfacing and said that plugged in people have said that the Bears were going to change their name from the Chicago Bears to the Indiana Bears, which George McCaskey was asked if that's true, and he debunked that rumor. They're staying the Chicago Bears regardless if it's in Illinois or Indiana, which I just want the stadium to be built at this point. I want to see it. I don't know where it's going to be. I mean, I would like to have an updated stadium, and it's just the Illinois has just screwed us over with that because they don't want to help us at all. I don't understand why. It's a founding franchise. I would want to help, but they can't come to an agreement, it seems. So we'll see. I mean, but until a shovel is in the ground, I don't know where it's going to be. So we'll see. Ben, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, I think it's huge for the Bears fans. I think it's huge for the community that they can stay in Chicago where they deserve it.
Yeah.
I think all in all, it's huge for the community, for the city, and hopefully everything. Obviously this has been a rumor for a long period of time, so just hopeful that they can move forward because, Grant, I mean, this has been talked about for months, like in terms of going back and forth. Obviously they had a certain area for a good amount of time that obviously kind of didn't work out. Then they obviously kind of focused on to move it to Indiana. Then obviously they kind of focus on, change the name, the Indiana Bears, the different trademarking and stuff for the stadium. And now it seems like, they're going to do everything in their power and the governor to stick around. And I think it's just, the Bears have always been known as the Chicago Bears. So it would be completely weird to just completely change it up. I mean, obviously things happen in sports, it happens, but for a franchise like them, I think it's huge. And, obviously it'll come down to a bunch of different things. It was actually when you were talking, Grant, the pivots, Indiana, kind of what their key focuses were. I mean, the location obviously was going to be at a secondary site in Wolf Lake, Hammond, Indiana, which is about roughly 19 miles southeast of downtown Chicago. The incentives, the Indiana lawmakers were aggressively looking at coordinating the franchise, offering up to about $1 billion in tax-supported incentives, establishing a dedicated stadium commissioning, and then team branding. McCaskey obviously talked about moving out of state. It's not going to change the team's identity. They'll remain the Chicago Bears. It would not feel the same that they could be able to keep their same exact name, but to move to a different state. So I'm just glad that they obviously are going to remain it as is and move forward with this.
Yeah, but it's been talked about for so long that you have to think that, people, fans would have thought that it would have been figured out by now, but Illinois just won't budge, man. They just won't budge.
Yeah.
They think that them coming in at the last minute with something that looks enticing will make them push off their decision. I'm pretty sure they have to have a decision pretty soon. And Kevin Warren says they've been doing their due diligence on everything. They've been doing their due diligence for like the last 3 years. It's insane. So just make a decision and just get the stadium built. I mean, that's the moral of this story. But going to the next topic, Anthony Richardson is probably going to be released or traded before the season begins. And honestly, it's sad a little bit because when he was drafted, he was one of the highly sought after quarterbacks because, he had 1 year of production and got drafted 4th overall.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, you could say that the same thing. You could say that there's another player that had the same situation with Sam Darnold. You know, I want to say he started more than 1 year at USC, but
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah, I think it was like
but,
a 2.
you know,
Mhm.
but still, like if you're drafted, you know, in the higher picks, you're going to a team that has a lot of crap for surrounding players. I mean, Anthony Richardson, I want to say had Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman, and besides that, in terms of weapons, that's it. And now, I mean, now Michael Pittman's gone, and the Colts are using Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback, who is coming back from an ACL tear, or is it Achilles injury?
Daniel Jones?
Yeah, Daniel Jones.
Pretty sure it was I'll double check for you. Give me a second.
Thank you. But it's important that I note about Anthony Richardson. Sometimes a change of scenery is helpful, which I do think that he
Right
could
Achilles.
towards Achilles. Okay. The thing that I'm curious about is who would be willing to give him a chance.
I got a couple teams.
All right, Ben, knock yourself out. Name those teams.
Yeah, so I'm looking at teams that have quarterbacks that have risk of injury problems. So I'm looking at the Atlanta Falcons as one of them.
That actually is probably a good one.
I think you know, Richardson kind of needs to have an offensive minded coach. He just needs a complete new slate. Just obviously with some guys obviously around there. You know, I think Atlanta's a good one. I think the Vikings are also another good choice. I mean, yes, they got Kyler, but you know, Kyler obviously, you know, he's not the same quarterback. I think personally. I mean, JJ McCarthy's obviously right behind him. I think at this point of his career, Grant, I don't think that Richardson's a starting QB1, but I think he could be a decent QB2. I think he could be a QB2 that can kind of learn under somebody. And get an opportunity. I mean, how about Miami? Like the Dolphins, right? You know, the Dolphins kind of.
Well, okay, I understand where you're coming from with Miami, but the problem is they did just give a very substantial contract to Malik Willis. Am I saying that that's going to pan out? Absolutely not. In fact, I don't think that pans out because, I mean, okay, here's the thing. Malik Willis going to the Miami Dolphins made sense to me because of Jeff Hafley. But here's the thing. They have nobody on offense. The one piece of offense they have, Devon Achane, which is a good piece. But I read something a couple of days ago that said Jeff Hafley has told Devon Achane that there are some games where he's going to get the ball 40 plus times. As a running back, that you are just wishing for injury there, especially behind that offensive line. And Malik Willis not having any receivers to throw to. I'm going to give people some advice here. If you have fantasy drafts coming up, avoid Devon Achane for the first 2 to 3 rounds if you can, because I am not saying that he's not a good quality second running back. The thing I'm saying is having the ball given to you that many times over a 17-week stretch, you're probably missing at least 4 to 5 games if you're getting the ball that many times.
Right.
And as a running backs is one of the careers or one of the positions that you could possibly have a short career if you have a bad injury. So if you're like, I wouldn't want Devon Achane to necessarily be my first running back. If he's your second running back or your flex position, I'd be more comfortable with that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking at Kelsey, obviously the trading betting odds for Anthony Richardson's next couple teams. There's 3 teams that they mentioned. I think 2 of them make a lot of sense. The other one is kind of like, well, they have still a plethora of other QBs. The Cleveland Browns are a specific situation too. They have Deshaun, Shador. Like I mentioned, Grant, and you mentioned that the Dolphins gave up a lot for Malik Willis. Anthony Richardson's not going to be a starting quarterback, I don't think, anymore in this league. So I think that he's going to have to come in. If he wants to be a starter at this point in time, he's going to have to come in with the chip on his shoulder and find a way to take over somebody's job or somebody. I mean, you obviously don't want to have injuries happen, but for an injury to potentially happen, he comes in. But even if that's even the case, like, he might not be even quarterback 2 for a lot of teams. So
that's very true.
He has a ton of ability. I mean, I saw him play in person. He has a ton of ability, but like, it's going to be tough. He has a ton of injury risk. He throws a ton of interceptions. He turns the ball over a lot. He gives me a Justin Fields type. I mean, I think that he could throw deep. I think probably his short game accuracy is a little bit more of an issue, but like, I think that he's going to be having to come in with realizing that he's not going to be a guy. He's going to be having to figure out kind of to come in and to kind of prove himself. That's pretty much kind of it at the time. So I think the Jets are another team also. I mean, Geno Smith and K. Klubnik, Anthony Richardson could be just competing. I think Richardson could just be a bodied type of quarterback. Like, he could be a scout quarterback. I mean, he's been around the league for a while now, but I mean, at this point in time, I don't think he's going to be starting at least for this year. Maybe down the road, but not as for right now.
No, I can agree with you on that. I mean, you mentioned a lot of great options for him, but I need to say this, like, and I thought I'd never say this, but I know that we haven't necessarily seen greatness out of JJ McCarthy, but I'd probably take JJ McCarthy over Anthony Richardson right now. And that might be a hot take, but
that is a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
at least I've seen some things that I like from JJ McCarthy, in the past, but I haven't seen anything that has been like the wow factor from Anthony Richardson, because he's always been hurt. And also, he took himself out one game because he was tired. If you're a starting quarterback, you cannot do that, because there are literally guys in front of you trying to block for you that are probably more tired than than you are, because they have to block, they have to hold off guys like Myles Garrett. So man up, man.
There you go. Love it.
But if Richardson gets a shot, I'm gonna wish him luck. But as of right now, I cannot see him getting much of a shot because he hasn't produced much. Going into our next topic, so the 49ers have just been depleted with injuries. It sucks. And Nick Bosa has been the latest victim of that. He is dealing with tendonitis in his surgically repaired knee, which after you get something, or after you get a surgery on something, to have something like this flare up, that's never a good sign. And Nick Bosa is one of the best defensive players in the league right now, even with his. How old is Nick Bosa? He's in his.
Let me check right now here. Nick Bosa is 28. He was born in 97. He's actually younger than I am.
He's 27. How old did you say he was?
I'm 30. He's 28. He was born in 97. I was born in 96.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's okay. Well, I mean, oh man, Nick Bosa, and I've seen like clips of him in training camp. When before the tendonitis thing came out, he was looking good, and it looked like he was gonna put the league on a tear.
Yeah.
And now we are like 3 weeks away from the NFL season, September 9th. I don't know how long tendonitis takes to, go away, but I'm not going to say it's short.
No. Yeah, no, that's tendonitis could be something that could
linger.
It can linger. Yeah, like obviously like it probably is like one of those where you feel fine probably for a couple days, and then it could just, I mean, anything with like loose bodies, at least in the knee. I'm actually myself, I mean, I didn't have anything like that bad, but I was at work this past week, and I hit my knee against a table. It wasn't me trying to do it, but it happened, and that was kind of like right, in the bottom of my knee-calf area, and so yeah, I mean, I felt it at least early on this week. It really hurt, but definitely doing much better as of right now. Just got to keep, obviously hoping everything's gonna be all right, but. Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, tendonitis, it could just linger. So, I mean, I would say 3-4 weeks. I would not probably anticipate him to be ready by week 1. If I obviously had to guess right now, I just think right now it's just kind of rushing it. But, I think it's just kind of a week.
Would you say like a week 3, week 4? Would you have a
guess? Probably if things go as schedule, I would probably say like, late September.
Okay, I mean that's like
it's still like not bad.
3 weeks into the season, but you are probably missing a guy that could probably in those 3 weeks get you 3 to 4 sacks. So that, and I'm not saying 3 to 4 sacks doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're a team that last year I want to say they weren't that great at getting interceptions or something, or was it their sack numbers?
I mean, I think they had just a hard time getting to the quarterback because of a lot of their injuries. Like they were just losing guys left and right.
It's true, but I have to say, from what I remember, every year it just seems like there's a stretch of the NFL season where the 49ers are just depleted with injuries. Usually it's not this time of the year, but usually it's like a stretch during the season where it's like an important stretch, and because of that stretch they end up losing a lot, which really stinks because they are one of the teams that could go to the Super Bowl if they were completely 100% healthy. I mean, and they added some pieces that I really like this offseason. Like they added Mike Evans. I think he's almost back, but he's dealing with a quad injury right now. Yeah. But he's also in his 30s, so that's a different story. But I mean, he left the Bucs because he wanted to have a chance to win. And with all of the things,
he wanted just a new chapter, I think, personally.
Well, that too. I mean, I guess he did win with Brady, but again, it's also because of Brady. there's no denying that. But I hope that he I mean, he's been in the league for 10 years, or 10 or so years. So I would imagine that Nick Bosa will take getting back onto the field seriously, but also understand that things like this take time. So he'll probably understand that he needs to take it easy. So, but we hope for a quick recovery for him, so he can get back on the football field, because he's just one of those guys. So going into the next topic, Puka Nacua, he has a knee issue, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Double check, but yeah, muscle soreness in his psoas, which is the lower abs and groin. And so McVay said that they are being cautious. They expect him to be ready for next week for practice, but I mean, that's obviously him speculating.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Puka Nacua is probably, probably one of the best receivers in the league right now. I mean, I would say maybe, I would say you could put a guy like, Jackson Smith Njigba over him, Jamar Chase over him, but I think he's right at number 3. I mean, but that's just my opinion. I mean, the good thing is, Ben, you said it, that they're being precautionary, so they don't want it to get worse. So, I mean, I would imagine that he's ready by week 1, if anyone is nervous about that. Because, I mean, honestly, in fantasy drafts, because I've been doing a lot of fantasy mock drafts, and I have a fantasy draft tomorrow. I mean, in drafts, he could go, like, he goes top 5. He goes 3 or 4 most of the time, because it's been Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, and either a combination of Puka Nacua and then Jamar Chase, or Jamar Chase and then Puka Nacua. So, I mean, people are drafting him to be the workhorse receiver in their fantasy football team. And, I mean, he is a workhorse in the Rams offense. So, but with them being cautious, I imagine he'll be fine by week 1. So, do you have any thoughts on this, Ben?
Yeah, just hopefully he's okay, getting ready for the year. And, obviously it's huge, for him to be ready. Obviously him and Devontae are a top 5 duo in this league. So you obviously want to have Puka out there, obviously, for the team that is, odds on favorite, or at least if not top 2 odds on favorite to go and win the whole entire thing with everything that they have. So
yeah.
Obviously there's a ton of guys currently that are dealing with something. And now is of course the time. Of course, a lot of starters don't play preseason anyway. So now is the time for them to, if they're dealing with something, to just kind of lay low. And you obviously don't want to have any type of setback or anything like that to have themselves not in position when they're ready for week 1. So
yeah, and I'm hoping that he heals up quick, because he in most leagues, I mean, if he with the offense that he has, I mean, he might have a game where he gets you 17 points, or he might have the game where he gets you 45 points. It's insane. But hoping for a quick heal up for Puka Nacua, because he's one of the workhorse receivers. And continuing with the injury news, Larry Tunsil is expected to miss most of the season due to torn triceps, or a torn tricep. I don't know if it's both, but I think it's just one. But still, I think I read that a couple days ago, and I think, I think that there's a possibility that he's out all season, because, I mean, it's that's a bad injury, and as an offensive lineman, that sucks. Because he was the top paid left tackle. He just got an extension from the Commanders a couple of weeks ago for like $30 million for 2 years, and I mean that's pretty big. But like, even it says most of the season, but I'm gonna come out and say it. I would not be surprised if it's all season, depending on how the season goes for the Commanders. Because I mean, if you're going into week, 14 or 15, and you only have 7 wins, I mean, in your division, who's in the Commanders division?
It's Eagles, Cowboys.
I mean, depending on how the Eagles do, I mean that's a harder division. I mean, I do think that they. Well, I think the Commanders, if I'm being honest, might have the best odds to finish last this upcoming year, because the Giants. I don't want to go into like a preview of the NFC East, but I'm kind of going to. The Giants, they hired Jim Harbaugh, and they were 4-13 last year. I imagine them to probably get 7 or 8 wins. Cowboys, they added a lot of really good pieces lately, and they did just also sign Quentin Williams, thank you, to a huge extension worth $105 million for over 3 years. They were 7-9 last year. I could see them getting 9 or 10 wins, if I'm being honest, if they stay healthy. And the Eagles, they did just get rid of A.J. Brown. They have a new offensive coordinator, but I still think they can get, this. I think they can have the same record that they had last year, which was 11-6. So, I mean, the Commanders, depending on how their season goes, might be at the bottom of the NFC East, which I don't necessarily want, but it might be the case. So if that's the case, and you're getting Laremy Tunsil back in practice, around week 14 or 15, and you're at, let's say 4 wins, I don't really know if, they're going to, if Laremy Tunsil comes into practice and they're going to say, okay, let's get you back in the game so we can turn this around, because at that point it's too late. Ben, do you have anything to comment on what I just said?
I mean, it's a huge loss, especially for the Commanders' left-hand side. Obviously, Jaden Daniels has been dealing with stuff in the past, injury-wise. So, Tunsil, of course, was the guy who was supposed to come in to protect that side. It's a huge loss, especially when the defenses that he's going to have to go through. I think the Giants' defensive front's going to be good. The Eagles obviously have a great front, personating with Jalen Carter. And, Dallas, with Kenny Clark and Williams being there. So
and Caleb Downs. So that's another piece that's really intriguing, Caleb Downs.
Yep.
So Laremy Tunsil, I mean, again, we hope for a speedy recovery, but also this is a recovery that you kind of need to do the right way and not try to rush back. So, heal up, and, you still got 1 more year in Washington after this, as long as you don't retire, which, I mean, Laremy Tunsil has been playing at a high level for so long, I don't think he's going to retire yet. And he's only, how old is he?
Probably mid-30s, I'd guess.
Okay. let me Laramie Tunsil is 32, but offensive linemen can play until they're in their mid 40s if they take in their mid 30s, I'm sorry, if they take care of their body.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Laramie Tunsil has taken care of his body. He's just gotten this time. He just got dealt a bad injury. I mean, Andrew Whitworth played till he was 40. Jason Peters played till he was 41, I think. So I mean, it's possible, but we have to wait and see how he heals up. But again, wishing for a speedy recovery for you. And
oh, looks like we lost Grant here. So yeah, I mean, Tunsil obviously being out is a massive, brutal loss for the Commanders, and hopefully.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
I accidentally swiped back on my my keypad or my trackpad, and that made me go to the last the beginning or that kicked me out of the studio. My bad. Okay, going into our next topic. James Pierce has been suspended for the first 8 games of the NFL season. Now, what he did was wrong. I totally believe that. And honestly, I think he still got a shorter suspension than he probably should have gotten. I honestly thought that he might be suspended for the year, but there's another thing with this that's pretty big. So not only is James Pierce going to miss the first 8 games, but Jalen Walker, the other edge that they had, the other draft pick that they made 2 years ago, he tore his ACL like 2 weeks ago, I think. So he's out for the year. Mm-hmm. So not having an edge rusher on that defense for the first 8 weeks of the season is very nerve-wracking, because I mean, first of all, they just got a new head coach in Kevin Stefanski, and I mean, you want your first year to go good in a new head coach's tenure. Now, does it always happen? No, but when you lose players like this to devastating injuries or suspensions like the Falcons have, you might not expect to be that great. I mean, because I mean, I don't really know if the Falcons have any great pieces on defense besides their edge rushers.
I mean, AJ Terrell.
Okay, AJ Terrell is one, and his brother just got drafted there, so that's kind of cool. And he also plays a corner, so I mean, he's going to be playing and learning from his brother to play in their defense. But like, it's very important that you get to the quarterback with your defense, and without your edge rushers, I just can't see it, being very successful, because I don't know who their backups are. But I mean, what he did was wrong, and he shouldn't have done it. I mean, I hope you learned your lesson. I think, again, I'm going to say it, I think you got off easy, because there have been some suspensions in the past that have been longer. I mean, Calvin Ridley, he got suspended for a year because he betted on sports games, which, again, I don't condone at all. But I mean, I think James Pierce got like suspended because he hit his girlfriend or something. I don't know how that results in.
He was involved with like a attack or something on a woman.
Oh,
I think so.
See, that's just wrong. It's
yeah.
You Can't do that. Again, I'm going to say it again. I've said it so many times this summer. You are literally being paid millions of dollars to play a children's game. And just because you have money does not mean you can buy silence. It does not work like that. If you do something that is terrible, like James Pierce did, or anything like that, there are consequences for it. You can't just buy your way out of it. And I don't think that this was a good look for a second-year player that had a pretty good rookie year last year. Ben, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a huge blow. Man, Atlanta had a really hard time last year rushing the passer, and Pierce was going to be one of those guys I think they had a lot of promise for.
Agreed.
And, for him to be out is just a devastating blow.
Yeah, I mean, that sucks. So all right, so we got our last topic here, and it's we are going to preview the NFC South and AFC South. I know I kind of did a preview of another division when I was talking about Laramie Tunsil, but this was the divisions that we decided to go with this year. So, or this week. So, let's see, NFC South. So let's start with them. Okay. Let's do, actually, I see the AFC South first. So AFC South had last year had the Jaguars finished 13-4, the Texans 12-5, the Colts 8-9, and the Titans 3-13 or 3-14. I do think this division gets a little bit of a shakeup this year. I mean, if you guys remember, the Colts last year started out the year 7-1, and then ended 8-9 because of the injury to Daniel Jones, which I hope he comes back and shows the people that he's a quality quarterback, because what I saw last year when he was with the Colts was very impressive. So let's start. Okay. I could see the all right. I'm trying to think of who I could see winning the AFC South. I think the Jaguars might go back to back and win it again. I just don't know if they'll go 13-4. I think they might go from 13 to like 11 or 12. The Texans, I've heard a lot of very impressive things about people that are in their at their training camp and stuff like that. So I mean, at the same time, I could also see the Texans winning. This is a hard division to predict, because all of the teams could be good. And I say that because so you might be wondering why I think the Titans could be good. And I'll tell you why. Because so the Titans, they hired Robert Saleh to be their head coach, which I was not necessarily a big fan of when he was hired, but when he put his staff together, he put together a pretty impressive staff. I mean, I like Brian Dable as the offensive coordinator. And I think that Brian Dable is one of those coaches that is more suited to be an offensive coordinator instead of a head coach. Now, however, I will say that Robert Saleh believes that he could be like a one and done offensive coordinator if he has a good year with Cam Ward, and he could get a second chance at a head coach job. I don't know who to put at the bottom. I mean, it might be the Titans, just because of how these teams looked ahead last year still, but I think if the Titans still finish at the bottom, I still think they could go from 3 wins to 7 or 8 wins. The Colts, if they can come out, guns a-blazing like they did last year, I think they could go from 8 wins to 10. And I think that the Jaguars and Texans might be like tied for the division, and whoever wins more or like wins a divisional matchup between the two of them will get the top of the AFC South. I don't know who I'd pick in that situation, because I mean, the Texans have a great defense, and they have pieces on offense that have been great. I just don't know, and I do expect a little bit of a drop off for the Jaguars, but not that big of one. I think you may lose 1 or 2 more games. So if you won 13 last year, you might win 11 or 12 this year, depending on your schedule. So I don't know. But Ben, do you have anything to say about the AFC South?
Yeah, it'll be an interesting division, to say the least, for sure. I think when I look at it, I look at whoever has the best defense, and to me, that is the Texans. Texans, I think, it depends really about what CJ Stroud is this upcoming season.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a competent to solid CJ Stroud, this Texans team can not only win this division, which I think that they would, but to be a top 5 team in the AFC. The Jaguars, I think, will be good. It depends about Travis Hunter. Hunter
that is a big if.
Can Travis Hunter, find himself offensively? And Trevor Lawrence has just been, he's a roller coaster, and obviously when he goes through his really good moments, he's been solid. The Colts, I think, take a little bit of a step back. So they think the loss of Michael Pittman Jr. is a very underrated loss for them.
I forgot about that.
Because there's not a lot of guys on the outside to me. You have Alec Pierce, obviously. You have,
and I think he's still dealing with an injury, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but it's going to be very interesting, to say the least, in terms of what they do. I think they obviously will use the ground game a lot. And
with Jonathan Taylor, you have to.
With Taylor, yep. So, yeah, it's gonna be obviously a very tough division, because I think a lot of teams are going to be crammed together, to say the least. The Titans, I think, will be better, but I still think it's going to be kind of a work in progress. I mean, if I obviously had to kind of pick from top to the bottom, I would say Houston 1, Jaguars 2, Colts 3, and Titans 4. I think
that's fair.
I think on both sides of the ball, I think the Jags and Texans have the advantage. I think the Colts have a pretty good offense, but their defense, I think, to me, is just kind of up and down. I think that they're going to give a lot of plays in their secondary.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Titans it's still kind of a work in progress. So the NFC South, I mean, it's going to be kind of with the AFC South, I think, to be honest. Starting with the Buccaneers, how does Baker Mayfield kind of play after the obviously all the contract dispute stuff? Obviously doesn't get into him.
Very true. Very true.
Mike Evans, the loss of Mike Evans. I mean, I think that's a massive, massive loss. Obviously, not only for the overall offense, but in terms for the overall leadership of the team. I think Chris Godwin obviously has been a great player, but of course he has a ton of injury risk. What happens with Emeka Buka? Obviously, he's dealing with an injury currently right now. I think bringing in, an added running back, Kenneth Gainwell, I think could help. He's a different type of back with Bucky Irving. So, I mean, they could obviously still be solid. They obviously brought back Keith Otten. Defense, I think, will be still decent with Todd Bowles. The Saints, I think, could be a really good story this year. I mean, they finally got the quarterback in Tyler Shuck. They obviously extended Chris Olave. Defensively, I think they'll still be good. So obviously watch out for the Saints to have another have a step up year for sure.
Yeah, but I also
Panthers obviously, they're gonna have a year that I think they're gonna be right there in the mix. Obviously they're right there with the Rams this past year in the playoffs. And then obviously, the Cardinals. I mean, Cardinals obviously are going to be. No, they're not. Sorry, no, not Cardinals. I'm missing one team, Grant.
hang on. The Falcons.
Falcons, yes, thank you. Falcons, it depends in terms of what quarterback it is, what the health of the quarterbacks are. I mean, Penix and Tua obviously are two guys.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Tua.
It'll be Tua, yeah.
As much as I probably don't want it to be, between the two, at least Tua has a track record of being productive. I can't say healthy, but productive. I mean, again, Michael Penix is neither healthy or productive, but Tua has had a year where he had 4,000 passing yards, so he has something in his tool belt. But in terms of me, so 3 out of the 4 teams finished 8-9 last year. The Falcons, the Buccaneers, and the Panthers all finished 8-9. I agree with you that the Saints will take a step up. I think maybe you could go. I mean, they had 6 last year. I think they could get 9 this year. So I mean, that at least puts you in. I mean, if this was last year, that would give you the best record of last year for the NFC South. Yeah. But this is this year. Because of the losses that they have sustained on defense, I think the Falcons might finish last. And I mean, just with their subpar quarterback choices, I don't think that they'll be that great. Also, I mean, I still believe in Baker Mayfield with the Bucs. It's such a big you are held to such a high standard when the quarterback before you was the greatest of all time in Tom Brady, because Tom Brady retired and then they signed Baker right after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
To follow that up, that's a big,
responsibility.
It's a big responsibility, but I mean, he's had quality years in the Bucs, and I don't want to see Baker in another uniform because he's had too many uniforms, in my personal opinion. I mean,
well, he's found himself a home. That's the thing. Like,
yeah, that's also big.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, and then with the Panthers, they've lost a lot of pieces too. So I don't think their left tackle is going to start out the year because he's got an injury. Nick Sorkin tore his ACL, so he's out for the year. And then a receiver that they drafted, Chris Brazzell, did something to his knee that they're holding him out this year. So, I mean, I would say that the Panthers are still the most complete team out of everyone in that division at certain positions. Because I mean, personally, I do like what I've seen from Bryce Young the last couple of years. He's improved every year. I mean, the first year, he didn't do good because he had nothing around him and not a coach to help him. Mm-hmm. And then the next year, he didn't look good because he was still learning the system. But last year, it was really impressive for to accomplish what he accomplished with minimal help. And I like the Panthers. All I have to say is I can't like them week 1 this year because the Bears play them. And if I'm being honest, I would like to start the year. I'd like to start the year 3-1. I think so. The first 4 games for the Bears are the Panthers, the Vikings, the Eagles, and the Jets. The one loss I could see is the Eagles, depending on how they do. I want to see a win week 1. I have to see a win week 2 because I'm going to the game, so I'm going to be mad if I don't if we lose. However, I'm also going to say I'm going to have a blast because it's with my dad, so I can't say that I'm going to be upset, visually at least. I'll be upset internally for sure, but I do think the Panthers have the pieces to be great, and it's finally looking like they have a stability at head coach because it felt like for a while they were just shuffling through. Not as bad as some other teams in the NFL, but definitely, it felt like it was a 4-year rental, and then they were trying to find the next guy. But I mean, how many defensive-minded head coaches are there in the NFL this year? Still,
I mean, you have Sala, right? Mm-hmm. There's not a lot.
I think 25 is like all offensive minded, and then the rest is defense or special teams. Because Harbaugh, if I'm not mistaken, Jim Harbaugh first started out as a special teams coach, right?
I think so.
How do you go from a special teams coach to a head? That's very impressive. So I mean, the NFL is going to be fun to watch this year. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's actually preseason games going on right now as we speak.
There is.
Who's playing?
Bucks and Jets. I haven't really seen the other games, but I know around here you have Bucks and Jets. Okay. A couple games tomorrow too. Vikings, Giants.
Yeah, the Bears play at noon tomorrow, which I'll maybe throw on while I'm at my draft or after. But it's just like, it's as much as I want to watch, preseason games, again, starters don't play in preseason anymore, so it's not necessarily entertaining to watch. I mean, it's nice if I'm watching a preseason game, I'm watching to see how rookies are playing. I'm watching to see, how if I put the Bears game on tomorrow, I'm watching to see how Dylan Thiedemann does if he plays, but he's projected to be a starter, so I don't imagine we see him out there, but if we do, I'll cheer him on. But we are at our time.
Just gotta do my reads.
Yeah, let's do that real quick. Actually, that's good. Just we only have a minute left, so go ahead.
Okay, so for football fans here, of course, that are watching, we of course want to have the first shout out to Forever Power 5. Whether you're backing traditional Big Ten powerhouses or looking for value out west in the Pac-12, college football season isn't just about the wins; it's about who covers. If you want the sharpest news, deep team breakdowns, and the best against the spread. Angles before you set your Saturday slate, you need to be locked into the Forever Power 5 on the M to the Bench network. Join Big Ten insider Zan Bando and Pac-12 expert James Myers every week as these two classic conferences get acquainted. Zan and James break down the biggest storylines, analyze matchups, and deliver the betting edges you need to keep your bankroll in the green. Don't lock in your bets without hearing their take first. Catch Forever Power 5 with Zan Bandow and James Myers every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time and 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time, right here on the M to the Bench Network, premiering on August 26th. Tune in, get the edge, and cover the board. Only on the M to the Bench Network. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. And also, we want to have a quick shout out to the Gridiron Gridlock. Before you map out college football slate, we've got a major traffic alert across the entire country. We're seeing bumper to bumper action in the top 25, heavy congestion around playoff bubble teams, and serious delays if you get stuck watching a low scoring snoozer. You need the ultimate navigation system before kickoff, and that means tuning into Gridiron Gridlock with Trevor Williams premiering on August 29th. Let's see. Every Saturday morning, Trevor brings you the full college football traffic report, breaking down where the fast lanes are routing you around the trap games, and giving you an early look at the marquee matchups you strictly can't afford to be in stock for traffic for. Don't get detour bound this Saturday. Check your schedule and turn on to the Gridiron Gridlock with Trevor Williams every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, right here on the Empty the Bench Network. Map out your Saturday, avoid the dead ends, and coast all afternoon. Only on the Empty the Bench Network. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network.
All right, so we'll see you guys next week, and we'll have some more NFL news to share, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully there's no injury news or suspension news, because I think we've had enough of it. Have a good night, everybody.
See ya.